Hello YouTube, it is Toy Adventures here again with another figure review. And before we get into the review itself, I would like to remind everyone, please like, share, and subscribe, and definitely leave a comment down below on what you think of the review. Those little actions you do greatly help the channel more than you can possibly imagine. Just leave a comment, share if you like the video, leave a like, and of course comment what you think, and that'll help us more than really anything you can do right now. And yeah, that's just one thing I want to get out of the way because we are doing a little tough right now. So if you could help us out by just doing those simple things, you will eternally have Toy Adventures gratitude, and you will be forever the #1 fan. Now guys, on today's review, we're taking a look at something pretty unique. We're actually taking a look at something Star Wars again. It's been a long time. Yes, today we are taking a look at the Star Wars The Black Series Return of the Jedi Rebel Commando. So I know I really don't do a lot of Star Wars figures on this channel. It's mainly just been Jurassic World with some G.I. Joe sprinkled in here and there. But I will cover the ones that I get because, especially if they're brand new like this one. Just because I think, you know, if I'm getting an action figure, I might as well make a video on it and show you guys and maybe make a couple cents on it at the same time, you know what I mean? So I thought, you know what? I think this is one that a lot of people want to see a review on. It's just a very sought after figure. We're finally getting a Endor Rebel Commando in the Black Series. This line has been going on since, it's been 10 years now, since 2013. And we have not gotten any kind of Rebel Commando. We've gotten the Endor Han, Endor Luke, Endor Leia, all those guys, but never a generic Rebel soldier. We've hardly gotten any Rebel soldiers in the Black Series. Really just this guy and the Hoth Rebel Trooper, as far as I know, are the... Oh, and of course the Fleet Trooper. So those two are the only Rebel Troopers we've gotten so far. No Tatooine, Rebel from Battlefront, and before this, no Rebel Commando from Endor, but there's still other Rebel Commando looks that they could do. This doesn't have to be their distinctive Rebel Commando, but something tells me it's going to be. I don't know if they're ever going to do another Rebel Soldier. I really think they should, because these are the figures that fans want. It's just these generic troops that, you know, these are always the best sellers in Black Series, whether it be the main characters from, I don't know, Mando, or the newest TV show, or Ahsoka. Those are really only the Disney diehard fans that are getting those. But the Star Wars fans, that are fans of OG Star Wars, they're looking for more of these figures that are, you know, real based Rebel Troopers, you know, more combat focused figures. I can only really think of the Rebel Troopers because it's really what we've been needing is just different types of Rebel Troopers. So this one is definitely a welcome addition. And even for someone like me who doesn't collect a lot of Star Wars because I've just kind of fallen out of it, Disney's really ran it into the ground, this is still something that will bring me back, you know. I really like the Rebel soldiers. I just like the soldiers in Star Wars in general, and this is especially one of them, especially since I played so much Battlefront. I've played as these guys so much that I'm very excited to take a look at it. Now, taking a look at the box here, it is the vintage Kenner style box with the actual Kenner logo down there. They picked a real potato of a photo for the Rebel soldier here. Usually it's a pretty high definition, at least a good rip of the movie character looking at you and whatnot. But here he's just crouched. He's not even looking at the camera. It's like a background shot. So kind of funny that they picked a pretty potato-y photo, but I guess it's the only photo that looks directly like the figure, because there is better shots of Rebel Commandos in Return of the Jedi, but I guess they didn't pick that one. Take a look here at the back. You do get a really nice lineup. You have the Rebel Commando, Bib Fortuna, the Emperor, Paplo, Stormtrooper, and the Slave Chewbacca with the collar around his neck. So a really unique wave. Pretty cool. Obviously the Stormtrooper we've gotten before, but you really can't complain. I mean, wimps will complain, wussies will complain, but just buy it. It's a Stormtrooper. Just buy it. Paplo, I could complain about that. Emperor and Bib Fortuna, I could complain, but I'm not going to. Maybe not about the Emperor. Bib Fortuna I can complain about, but he is still technically an important character, so fair enough. They gotta add him. But that's pretty much it for the box. Just a clamshell packaging. So let's go ahead and get this guy opened up. So here you have everything you get out of the box. You get the Rebel Trooper, an extra face, a primary and secondary weapon, and a backpack. So he has a pretty standard loadout, but pretty good for, honestly, a Black Series. A lot of modern Black Series don't come with a lot, and they still charge the same amount of money. This guy is deluxe, so you're going to be paying $30 for him, which is mainly the reason why I left Star Wars the Black Series. It's just not worth it anymore. It's severely overpriced for a severe lack of content, whereas the G.I. Joe figures are the same price. They're $24, so cheaper than this guy, and on average, they come with about the same amount of stuff as this guy, if not more. I mean, most Joes come with at least more than an accessory, a primary, secondary, and a backpack. Some do, but some are a little more loaded out and are still the same price, whereas this guy is extra money for about what you'd expect a standard Black Series to come with. But that being said, I am still very happy with this figure. Quality rise. Price rise, I'm always going to have a complaint because I don't like what Modern Hasbro is doing. But figure-wise, I can't lie. They hit it nail on the head with this one. Now, let's take a look. First, we're going to take a look at the actual figure itself. This is the base figure. Now, technically, this little sash could be considered a accessory because it comes off super easy. The helmet does not come off. Going to go ahead and set that right then and there. That would have been nice, but it plays into the hat changing gimmick. But still, I would have preferred a helmet that can come off as well as the face that can come off, seeing as the Hoth Trooper had a removable hat. But I guess it's not the end of the world. The jacket's really nice here. Comes out. You can tell this thing has really good, what's it called? Butterfly joints. If you take the jacket off. With the jacket on, it's probably a little hindered. Just a really nice paint work going throughout this entire guy, especially there on the pants. That faded camo looks amazing and just absolutely perfect. This figure looks really standout. I love the boots down here. Moving down. Now, one thing you got to notice, paint-wise, is when you articulate the knees, the paint does not continue on down there. None of the green camo continues on, so it is pretty bare on the knees. It is something to just keep in the back of your mind. It's not game-changing, because usually when you're posing him, crouched, his knees on the ground, so you don't see it. But just something to keep in mind, that the knees are barren of any paint, and there is actually no holster. So I call it a secondary because it is technically like a pistol weapon, but there's nowhere to put it, so it is still technically a second primary, because you can't hold it. So he either has to hold either one or the other in terms of weapons. Pretty big bummer there, but not the end of the world. Really nicely painted on this. Let's take a look at the face before we move on to articulation. The face is really nice on this one. The eyes are very vibrant. The cheekbones are extremely nicely defined. That light's a little too bright. But yeah, the sculpting on this face is really, really good. Really am enjoying this face particularly. And to switch it out, if it's anything like the Hoth Trooper, you just pull this out. Maybe we pull the whole head off. Stand by. I got it off, but it's just tough. You have to really dig your nail in there. But the face peels off real nice and easy. And if you want Captain Rex, you can. Yeah, it's Nick Sant, quotation mark. No, this is Captain Rex. And if you say anything else, you're wrong. It's okay to be wrong. Nick Sant doesn't exist. He's just a figment of your imagination. It was Captain Rex the whole time. Just an alias he went by. I don't care who confirmed what. They don't know anything. It's a fictional universe, so my say is just as good as theirs, right? Fictional universe. It's Captain Rex. This is Captain Rex right here. So definitely worth buying a second one of these, just to have a Rex alongside it. Now this is so you can mass up army guys, but my mom made a really good point. It's just two very similar looking faces, so you can only really have an army of these two guys. But it's okay because, this is kind of like your everyman face, just your generic Caucasian face. I'm sure really talented artists are going to take this mold and make other faces using this mold, like, attachment point. They can make other faces for this figure. I think I've seen them do that for the Hoth Trooper, not quite as nice. But yeah, basically you just gotta get your nail in there. Pry it out. It's not as good as the Hoth Trooper. The Hoth Trooper was just so nicely designed. It's crazy. I mean, this one doesn't even have face storage in the backpack. So let's take a look at the backpack. Pretty standard little accessory. Really nice little paint details on it. You have this little tube on here, so nice little details on the backpack. Little sculpted, I don't know, communication things and tubes and Star Wars-y stuff. Very nice backpack. Just a generically good backpack for any kind of 6-inch figure, just because it actually uses straps. So I assume you could probably use this for a G.I. Joe or Marvel Legends. They might be a little too big, but you know. Maybe Marvel Legends. I don't know about the Joes. The Joes I know are big. I don't know how big Marvel Legends are. But to attach it, you just put one strap on that arm, and then you move this arm back. Kind of, you don't want to stretch it too much. And it should sit low on the back. That's how these backpacks particularly sit, is, you know, kind of near the butt. They're more of butt packs. And yeah, pretty good. Now, I'm going to actually take it off because now we're getting into articulation. We'll get into this guy all armored up. But let's see how well this guy articulates, because that's what I'm really curious about. And what I'm mainly curious about is the butterfly joint. So first, we're going to start off with the head. The head is on a ball joint, and the neck is on a ball joint. So your full 360-degree rotation in the head. You can look up about that far. You can look down about that far. And of course, like I said, neck, head, separate joints. So you do get a ton of movement here in the head. Just down, up, all around. Moving down here to the arm, butterfly joint. Can move in about there. Can move out about there. I'm really curious how it is with the jacket off. So we're just going to do a quick little test. Can he hit the pose? Yes. So he can hit the double pistol pose, you know, the correct pistol pose, like the Fleet Trooper could. But of course you have to remove the vest once again. But just fine, you don't really need it because it was really the Fleet Trooper that did that pose, not really the Rebel. So a Rebel can do it just fine. Hinge up about there. And just above, or just beyond a 90-degree angle. For the hand, of course, you have a 360-degree rotation. 360-degree rotation. In the hand, you have a rocker joint. It rocks up and down. This is perfect for holding weapons. Of course, 360-degree rotation. Same thing in the other arm. Here at the waist, there is no ab crunch, but there is a nice waist swivel that gives you a lot of movement. I would have preferred an ab crunch, especially for a soldier figure that needs a lot of articulation for really good poses and like prone posing. So the fact that you can't really do prone without an ab crunch, which makes the absence of an ab crunch all the more painful on a soldier figure. Again, if this was just Luke or some TV show character, I wouldn't mind, but this is a soldier. He kind of needs to do each and every soldier pose. So it's a little tough that there is an omission of that joint. But moving down here to the leg, you can kick up just about to there. Thigh swivel, really nice. Kick back pretty nicely, not too crazy. And then you have a single jointed knee that can get just above a 90-degree angle. I don't know why they give soldiers single jointed knees. I mean, they are okay, but they're not as good as the double jointed ones at all. No boot articulation. G.I. Joe is just spoiling me here. And there is an ankle rocker and a bend. Whew, that is quite a bend. That is quite a damn bend. And then it can just go do a default pose. So, articulation on this guy is pretty par of the course for Black Series and the Indiana Jones Adventure Series. Those kind of have like the same builds. I guess they're just doing that for Lucasfilm characters. But not as good as Marvel Legends or G.I. Joe. But let's get this guy all armored up. So, of course, he has his little satchel bag right here, or just satchel. Goes around there. Then, of course, you just throw the backpack on. The backpack goes on really easy. I thought I would have to finagle with it for a while. But no. It's almost a little too easy. Like the straps are almost a little too far apart to the point where it wants to just like slope down. He looks like a kid in school who has a backpack that's way too big for him. And so like it slumps all the way down to his butt and it's like hanging down his shoulders. You know the kid. It was me! It was me! Now let's take a look at his guns. He of course comes with the A280. Use this gun all the time in Battlefront. It's actually super slept on, especially when you put the burst mod on it. That thing is a laser beam, quite literally. And then you have the, I cannot remember the name of this gun, but I also used it quite a bit. It's okay. It's a standard Rebel blaster. But it fits right there in his hand pretty nicely. And yeah, no real complaints. But of course, I always prefer the A280 just because it is the rifle. It looks much cooler. And it just fits perfectly in there. Like that. And here we have the Endor, finally. Endor Rebel Commando. Now, I don't want to be a nerd right here, but that's my entire channel, so I'm going to go ahead and be a nerd. Isn't this just technically a Rebel Trooper? Like an Endor Trooper, and then like the ones with the long jacket that Han Solo has, aren't those the Commandos? And that these are just like Endor Trooper? I could be totally wrong. Maybe they're all Commandos, and you know, the Rebel faction just calls any other soldiers Commandos instead of actual Commandos, but the name definitely sounds a lot cooler than Rebel Trooper, but I'm just gonna treat this guy as a trooper. Definitely gonna need to get at least 2 or 3 of these guys. Now, the final step of this guy's review is going to be size comparison. This is a soldier, so let's see how he fits in with his factions and enemies. So, of course, here he is compared to his arch nemesis, the Imperial Stormtrooper. Very nice matchup here, pretty much perfect. No complaints. This looks absolutely fantastic. Now, of course, we gotta compare him to his princess. She is a little bit of baby, but it fits, and I very much like it. Just these two standing together with this background already makes me feel at home. Right on Endor, right? Now we have a couple more to compare him to. Gotta get his legs all straight. Here he is with the Chosen One's son, the hero of the Rebel Alliance, Luke Skywalker. Of course, Luke is a bit of a manlet, so this is pretty nicely in scale. He's still a short king, though. And before we move on, here he is with a intergalactic version of Han Solo, where Han Solo is actually smart. Very nice. Very nice. They scale in pretty well. And here he is with a ninja. He's a little outclassed by the ninja. Just a little bit. So this is the size difference we're talking about when we say G.I. Joe versus Star Wars Black Series. They are both section scales, but they are not in scale. G.I. Joes are just a tiny bit too big for your standard Black Series. But that is pretty much it. I'm going to go ahead and give this guy a final rank of a 9 out of 10. He is a fantastic new Black Series. Definitely one worth buying, even for me, who hardly buys Black Series anymore at all. This one I'm going to have to buy at least 2 more times, just because I need a good little army to stand against my big old army of Stormtroopers. So I love this guy. He's getting a 9 out of 10 for me. His drawbacks are no taking off the helmet. The faces don't look different enough. And no storage for his, accessories. There's no spot in the backpack for the face. There's no holster for the pistol. Those are my complaints. But other than that, this is really what I wanted. It is a great little Endor soldier to go against your Stormtroopers. And it does have at least a modicum of customizability so that your whole horde of these guys doesn't look all the same. I would get a couple extra of the Han Solos and give them like that long jacket he comes with. I might do that too. But we shall see. That's just another idea. You could probably do the same thing with Leia's little poncho there. You make your own little different squad. So ideas aplenty. Anyway, guys, that has been it for this review. Thank you all so much for watching. This has been Toy Adventures signing out, and may the Force be with you.